They left me when I was broken. Now that I've succeeded, they're begging to return. Imagine being 17, walking into your quiet house, only to find it completely empty. Not just a little messy, but empty. And then, on the kitchen counter, a note. 2 words that shattered my world. You'll figure it out. No note, no call, just an empty house. The note itself? The cruelest thing I'd ever read. You'll figure it out. Just like that. I was 17. My mind raced. What had I done? Did they just stop pretending to love me? Because looking back, the truth was they had barely pretended at all. When I was 13, I spent hours baking my mom a birthday cake just for her to call it clumpy. At 15, I practically tutored my brother through his finals, only to have him call me a know-it-all and slam the door in my face. Then, at 16, I handed my entire paycheck to my dad to help with bills, only for him to scream at me later, telling me I was useless. Useful always. Loved? Never felt like it. My parents. My brother. My only family. They just packed up and left. 2 states away. Without a single word. I found out a week later from the landlord. A week. That's all the time I had to get out before they canceled the lease. 3 nights on a friend's couch. Then nowhere. Eventually, I was sleeping in a storage unit I rented with the last of my savings. A storage unit. I'd sneak into the YMCA to shower. My diet? Peanut butter. With a spoon. 3 meals a day. I'd apply for jobs on free library computers, pretending to anyone who asked that everything was perfectly fine. It wasn't. Finally, a night shift at a diner. The manager was gruff, yeah, but fair. She paid me cash under the table until I could even get an ID. One night, I almost collapsed from pure exhaustion, and she let me nap in the break room. I clawed my way through every single day. I bought a cheap prepaid phone, saved every single receipt, devoured free YouTube tutorials on finance and goal setting. That first year, I barely survived. But I did make it. The turning point came when a regular at the diner offered me a temp job, cleaning out office files. It paid triple what I was making. I jumped at it. One job led to another and another. I learned fast. Showed up early. Asked all the questions. By 22, I was freelancing full-time. At 25, I launched my own consulting business. Just me, a folding table, and a borrowed laptop. 3 years later, I had 5 contractors, my own office, and clients I used to only dream about. And by 29, I was officially a millionaire. Not some influencer millionaire, not fake it for Instagram millionaire. Real savings. A retirement account. No debt. My apartment paid off. Health insurance I could afford. The first time I saw that 7-figure number on my bank app, I cried. Throughout all those years, not a single word. Not one. I saw my brother pop up on a suggested friends list once. Married now, still in the state they fled to. I just stared at the screen. Did he tell his wife about me? Did he say I ran away? Or did he just erase me? Sometimes I wonder if it would have been easier to just hate them. But honestly, it was never hate. It was raw, searing heartbreak. I go to therapy now. I need to stay unbroken. I even keep a running list of people who saved me when they absolutely didn't have to, coworkers, classmates, even strangers. They showed me what real support looks like. Then, last week, a podcast interview I did about surviving family estrangement went absolutely viral. 1 million views in 4 days. My inbox exploded. Messages of support, gratitude, people saying I'd put words to their deepest pain. And then, one email. The subject line, "You're still our daughter." From my mom. No apology. Just a detached paragraph about hearing my side and maybe talking. Then, one from my brother. "We miss you. Can we fix this?" I stared. For a long, long time. Then I just closed the laptop. Does healing mean looking back or staying forward? I needed time. My therapist, Melissa, told me to give it at least a week. Space to feel whatever comes up, she said. So I did. Focused on work, hit the gym, saw friends. Normal stuff. But those emails? They haunted me. I'd open them, read them, close them. Over and over. My mom's felt cold, clinical, like she was emailing a distant acquaintance. My brother's was shorter, but somehow more genuine. I couldn't stop thinking about them. 10 days later, I finally replied. To my brother first. Something simple. It's been 12 years. What changed? I hit send before I could overthink it. His response came within an hour. The podcast, he said. It made him realize. He was only 15, he claimed. Didn't have a choice. Always wondered. Looked me up a few times, but never had the courage. Seeing my success made him proud. I didn't buy it. Not completely. If he was so concerned, why wait until I was publicly successful? I asked him exactly that. His next email was much longer. He admitted money was tight. Parents' business failed. His wife was pregnant with their second. Medical bills were piling up. My stomach dropped. There it was. The real reason. Another week passed without a reply from me. Then, my mom sent a follow-up. Old family photos. Me as a baby. Us at the beach, maybe 5 or 6. Michael and I building a snowman. Happy moments. They felt like they belonged to someone else's life. At the bottom, we made mistakes. We want to make amends. I showed Melissa the emails. She reminded me I was in control. I could set boundaries. I owed them nothing. But she also said closure could help me move forward, whether it was reconciliation or a final goodbye. I nodded, but inside, I was a mess. Part of me wanted to tell them to go straight to hell. Another part just desperately wanted to understand why. And a tiny, stupid part of me still wanted them to love me. I decided to meet my brother first. Just him. No parents. We chose a coffee shop in Chicago, halfway between us. I flew in that morning, checked into a hotel, my stomach in knots. I almost canceled. 3 times. But at 2 p.m. I walked in. Saw him immediately. Older now, heavier, receding hairline. But those eyes? Still his. He stood up. Awkward. Uncertain. No hug. We just sat there, across from each other, coffees between us, like total strangers. The first 20 minutes were excruciating. Small talk. Weather. My flight. His drive. Then he started to apologize. Emma, I'm so sorry, Michael choked out, his voice cracking. I was just a kid. I didn't know they were planning to leave you until it was too late. I was too scared to stand up to them. I just listened, searching his face. He seemed sincere. But I'd been fooled before. I finally asked the question that had haunted me for 12 years. Why me? Why was I the one left behind? He looked down at his coffee. They always saw you as the strong one, he mumbled. The independent one. The one who would be fine on your own. They thought you didn't need them as much as I did. They convinced themselves you'd be better off without them. It was the most ridiculous, self-serving crap I'd ever heard. I told him. About the storage unit. About peanut butter for weeks. About YMCA showers and night shifts at 17. His face just crumbled. I didn't know, he whispered. They told me you had a plan. That you wanted to stay. That you were going to live with a friend's family. That? You'd chosen to separate. All. Lies. By the end, I was so confused. He seemed genuinely remorseful. He showed me pictures of his wife and daughter, talked about his accountant job, even asked about my business. He didn't even directly ask for money, which honestly surprised me. When we parted, he hugged me. I let him. But I didn't hug back. I just stood there, arms at my sides, feeling absolutely nothing. Back at my hotel, I called Melissa. Told her everything. She pointed it out instantly. He seems sorry, Emma, but he's still framing himself as a victim, not acknowledging his own role. She was right. He was 15, not 5. Old enough to pick up a phone. Old enough to send an email. Old enough to check on me at some point in 12 years. That night, my mom called. I hadn't given her my number, so Michael must have. I almost didn't answer. Curiosity won. Her voice sounded older, raspier. She cried when I said hello. Started talking about how proud she was. How she always knew I'd succeed. How special I was. I let her ramble. Then I asked her the same question. Why me? Her answer was, different. We were in debt, Emma. We couldn't afford 3 mouths to feed. We knew you were smart enough to make it on your own. We figured you'd go to social services, get placed with a better family. We thought we were doing you a favor. I hung up, blocked her number immediately, threw my phone across the room, and screamed into a pillow. The next morning, an email from my dad. First contact in 12 years. No apology. Nothing. Instead, a rambling list of their hardships, medical bills, failed businesses, Michael's wife needing surgery, eviction looming. And then, at the very end, he asked if I could help the family out. Not a single question about my life. Not a single acknowledgement of what they'd done. I forwarded it to Melissa. Subject line, and there it is. She called immediately, even though it was Sunday. We talked for an hour. Boundaries. Forgiveness versus reconciliation. Helping versus enabling. What I actually wanted versus what I thought I should want. By Monday, I had my decision. I emailed Michael. Told him I was glad we met. That I understood his difficult position back then. I was willing to have a relationship with him and his family. But with clear boundaries. No money. No loans. No financial support of any kind. And no relationship with our parents until they took full responsibility. His response? Immediate. And telling. I'm really disappointed, Emma, he wrote. Our parents really need help. Families should support each other. You're being selfish with your success. Every single guilt button they'd installed in me as a child? Pushed. All at once. I didn't respond. Instead, I booked another session with Melissa and a flight to Bali. I needed space. 3 days later, Michael called. Left a voicemail. Apologized for his email. Said he understood my position. Still wanted a relationship on my terms. Would respect my boundaries. I listened twice. Was he sincere? Or just changing tactics? I decided to give him one more chance, but my guard was way up. And I went to Bali anyway. 2 weeks. Beaches, rice fields, meditation. I needed that distance. When I got back, 6 more desperate emails from my dad. I didn't read past the subject lines. I also had a text from Michael. Could we talk? I agreed to a phone call. Nothing more. The call started okay. He apologized again for pushing. I've been thinking a lot about what you told me, he said. I'm in therapy now, too. I believed that part. He sounded different. Less defensive. We talked about his kids, my business. Normal stuff. Then, he mentioned it. Our parents were visiting him next weekend. Would I consider meeting them? Just for an hour. In public. My chest tightened. I'm not ready for that, Michael. He pushed a little, then backed off when I went quiet. After we hung up, I called Melissa. Emergency session that night. She helped me realize I was afraid. Not because I hated them, but because I still craved their approval. Still wanted them to love me. Still wanted to be enough. It felt pathetic, but it was true. I cried for an hour in her office. The next day, another text from Michael. Mom cried all night. Dad was talking about driving to my city anyway. Panic seized me. I blocked Michael's number. Called my assistant, told her I was working from home all week. Groceries delivered. I basically hid. Like a scared kid. Wednesday, my doorman called. A couple asking for me. Wouldn't give names. I knew. Not accepting visitors, I told him. 5 minutes later, an unknown number rang. Voicemail. It was my dad. His voice, seething with anger. Emma. We drove 8 hours to see you. You're being childish. We deserve a chance to explain. I deleted it. Turned off my phone. Thursday morning. Pounding. On my door. I froze. Heart hammering. Peephole. It was them. My parents. Standing in my hallway. Like they had every right. Emma, please. My mom's voice, muffled through the door. We just want to talk to you. My dad added, we know you're in there. We love you. We're sorry. I didn't move. Sat on the floor, back against the wall, shaking. Eventually, they left. I called building security. Do not let those people up again. The guard asked if I needed police. No. Just don't let them up. Then Melissa. She came over on her lunch break. Brought me a sandwich. Sat with me while I cried. You have every right to set boundaries, Emma. You don't owe them a meeting. This is harassment, not reconciliation. After Melissa left, an email from Michael. He was furious. I'd humiliated our parents. They were in a cheap motel, desperate to see me. His wife still needed surgery. They were hoping I could help. I was cruel. I didn't respond. Friday morning, I booked a flight to Portland. To my friend Rachel. She was one of the people who helped me when I was homeless, let me crash on her couch when I had nowhere else to go. I trusted her completely. I was throwing clothes in a suitcase when my phone rang. Unknown number. Again. I ignored it. 10 minutes later, the doorman. A woman downstairs, medical issue. Asking for me by name. Claimed to be my mother. I felt sick. Call an ambulance if she needs one, I told him. But I'm not coming down. He sounded uncomfortable, but agreed. An hour later, I crept downstairs. Checked the lobby carefully. No sign. Relief washed over me, but also this weird, gut-wrenching guilt. The doorman gave me a strange look. Told me the ambulance had come. Chest pains. Memorial Hospital. I just nodded and hurried into my waiting Uber. At the airport, Michael called. Again. I almost didn't answer. But something. Mom had a heart attack. He was sobbing. She's in surgery. This is your fault for stressing her out. I hung up. Immediately. Called Melissa. She answered right away. I told her, am I a terrible person? Emma, listen to me, she said, her voice firm. You are not responsible for your mother's health. This feels like another manipulation tactic. Get on your plane. Take care of yourself. So I did. I spent the weekend with Rachel. Told her everything. She remembered. Remembered how broken I'd been when my family abandoned me. She was furious on my behalf. They don't deserve a minute of your time, she said, pouring me another glass of wine. Not after what they did. It felt good to have someone so firmly in my corner. Sunday night, an email from my dad. Mom was stable. Stent. Released Tuesday. The email ended, she's asking for you. Don't you think you've punished us enough? I showed Rachel. She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. Textbook guilt-tripping, she scoffed. I knew she was right. But a part of me still felt responsible. I flew home Monday. Found flowers outside my apartment door. The card, please call us. We're staying at the Holiday Inn until Wednesday. No apology. No acknowledgement of boundaries. Just another demand. I threw them straight into the trash chute. Tuesday morning. Another unknown number. A text. A photo of my mom in a hospital bed. Pale. Small. The message, she might not have much time left. Do you really want to live with this regret? I blocked the number. Called Melissa. Social media break, she advised. Change your number. Maybe stay with a friend. I agreed. Called my assistant. Told her I'd be remote for 2 weeks. Packed another bag. Before I could leave, the doorman called. Again. A young woman downstairs. Small child with her. Claimed to be my sister-in-law. I felt cornered. They wouldn't stop. Send her up, I told him. I decided to face it head-on. The woman who knocked looked exhausted. Dark circles. A sleeping toddler on her shoulder. I'm Jenny, she said quietly. Michael's wife. I came alone. I wanted to talk to you without the family drama. I let her in reluctantly. Offered her water. She gratefully accepted. Jenny gently placed her sleeping daughter on my couch, tucked a blanket around her. Then sat at my kitchen table. And started talking. I only learned about you 3 years ago, she admitted. Michael told me you ran away at 17. Cut contact. I always thought it was strange, but I never pushed. Hearing your podcast, it was a shock. I confronted him. He finally admitted the truth. I just listened, unsure what to believe. But Jenny seemed sincere. I'm horrified by what they did to you, she continued. I insisted Michael reach out, but I had no idea they were going to ask you for money. I'm so embarrassed and angry about that. Yes, I do need surgery for a thyroid condition, but we have insurance. Your parents are the ones in financial trouble, not us. I asked her why she'd come. She looked me straight in the eyes. You deserve to know the whole truth, she said. Your parents have been telling everyone that you abandoned the family, that you were mentally unstable. that you stole money from them before disappearing, that they spent years looking for you. All lies. To cover what they'd done. I felt like I'd been punched. How do you know this is true? She pulled out her phone. Showed me Facebook posts from years back. My mom, asking for prayers to find her troubled daughter. My dad, claiming I'd taken their savings. Posts about PIs, about checking homeless shelters. All carefully crafted to make them the victims. All dated years after they abandoned me. Jenny apologized for being part of it, even unknowingly. She'd confronted my parents too, she said. And they'd admitted everything to her when she threatened to tell the whole family the truth. They were desperate now. Their lies were unraveling. My podcast had people asking questions they couldn't answer. Her daughter woke up then. A cute little girl, curly hair. "This is Lily," Jenny said softly. "She's 3. I have another daughter on the way. I want my children to know their aunt. But only if you want that too. No pressure. No guilt. Just an open door, if you ever choose to walk through it." After they left, I sat in my apartment for hours. Processing. Called Melissa again. Told her everything Jenny said. She wasn't surprised. Abusers often control the narrative, Emma. They create alternate realities where they're the victims. She asked what I wanted to do. I honestly didn't know. That night, another email from my dad. This one was different. Angry. Threatening. If I told lies online, they'd sue me for defamation. They had proof I'd stolen from them. They'd go to the media if I didn't take down the podcast and issue a public apology. Demanded financial compensation. I forwarded it to Melissa. Then to my lawyer, Marcus. He called me immediately. "This is an empty threat, Emma," he assured me. "Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. Save everything. Don't respond. I'll handle it if they actually file, which I doubt. People who are actually going to sue don't usually announce it first." The next day, Michael called. Voicemail. He sounded panicked. "Emma, Jenny told me she visited you. Our parents are furious. They're saying terrible things about her now, too. I'm scared they're going to try something desperate. Please call me back on Jenny's phone, not mine." What was I supposed to believe? I called Marcus again. He suggested meeting Michael and Jenny in public with him there as my lawyer. Just to hear them out. I reluctantly agreed. We met at a restaurant near Marcus's office the next day. They showed up on time. Both looked terrible. Stressed. Exhausted. Jenny had a bruise on her arm she kept trying to hide. Michael couldn't make eye contact. "I'm Marcus, Emma's attorney," he said, as we sat down. Michael flinched. We ordered coffee. And they started talking. The story that came out was even worse than I'd imagined. My parents had been living off Michael for years. Moving in and out of his house. Taking money for emergencies. Watching his kids while criticizing his parenting. When Jenny confronted them about me, my dad had grabbed her arm. Hard enough to leave marks. Michael had finally kicked them out. They were in a motel now. Calling constantly. Showing up at his work. I listened, without interrupting, watching my brother break down. He described how our parents had controlled him his entire life. How they'd convinced him I abandoned them. How he'd been too scared to question their version. How he'd been trapped in their web of manipulation and lies for 12 years. How he was terrified they would hurt Jenny or the kids. Marcus asked careful questions. Financial entanglements. House titles. Bank accounts. Keys to their house. Michael answered everything. Co-signed his mortgage. Dad's still on his bank account from college. Spare keys. All his passwords. Marcus took notes, glancing at me occasionally. By the end, I felt drained. But clearer. This wasn't just about me anymore. Michael and Jenny. Victims too. Different from me, but still trapped. Marcus suggested they get their own lawyer. Gave them a colleague's card. Told them to change their locks, passwords, bank accounts immediately. They nodded, overwhelmed, but grateful. As we left, Michael hugged me. This time, I hugged him back. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But it was something. A recognition. We'd both been damaged by the same people. Maybe we could help each other heal. That night, a series of increasingly unhinged texts from my parents' numbers. Accusations. Threats. Guilt trips. I blocked them all. Then I called Jenny. Are you safe? Yes, she said. Locks changed. Stayed with friends. Looking into a restraining order. Relieved, but still worried. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Jenny. Hysterical. They broke into our house, she sobbed. They took Lily's baby photos, important documents, Michael's laptop. Left a note. Family matters should stay in the family. I told her to call the police immediately. Said I'd meet them. Called Marcus on my way. When I arrived, a police car. An officer taking statements. The place was a mess. Drawers pulled out. Papers scattered. Michael, head in his hands. Jenny, pointing out missing items. I introduced myself as family. The officer seemed skeptical. Grandparents? Breaking in? Are you sure they didn't just use a key? He asked. Maybe this is a misunderstanding. Jenny showed him her bruised arm. Told him about the escalating behavior. The threats. The stalking. He took notes, but didn't seem convinced. Said without evidence, it would be hard to prove who did this. After the police left, we cleaned up. Found more missing things. Photo albums. Financial documents. The spare car key. Michael looked utterly defeated. This is my fault, he said. I should have protected my family better. Stood up to them years ago. Looked for you harder. I didn't disagree. But I didn't pile on. We were beyond that. Marcus arrived as we finished. Looked around grimly. This changes things, he said. We need to document everything. Breaking and entering is a serious crime. You all need to stay somewhere else for a few days. I'll help you file for emergency restraining orders tomorrow morning. We just nodded. Too exhausted to argue. Jenny packed bags. Michael and I secured the house as best we could. Changed locks again. Checked windows. Discussed security cameras. It felt surreal. Taking these precautions against our own parents. But it was necessary. They'd crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. As we were leaving, Michael got a text from our dad. 3 words, "We're watching you." His hand shook as he showed it to me. I screenshotted it, sent it to Marcus. Then I made a decision. You're coming to stay with me. My building had security. Cameras. A doorman who already knew. They accepted gratefully. That night, the 4 of us ate takeout in my living room. Lily played with toys. We talked quietly. Restraining orders. Police reports. Changing numbers. Email addresses. Maybe a new house. Long-term protection. It was not the family reunion I'd ever imagined. Sitting there with the brother who let me be abandoned, his wife who believed lies about me, and their innocent daughter. But somehow it felt right. Like we were finally facing the truth. Together. Like maybe, just maybe, we could build something new from the ashes of what our parents had destroyed. The next morning, Marcus called. He'd filed emergency restraining orders for all of us. We needed to be in court next week to make them permanent. He'd also reported the break-in to a detective he knew, who was taking it much more seriously. We should all stay together until this was resolved. I agreed. Called my assistant, working from home indefinitely. Family emergency. She understood. Rearranged my schedule. I set up a workspace in my guest room for Michael. Jenny and Lily took over my living room, building pillow forts, watching cartoons. It was strange. Having people in my space. I'd lived alone for years. Loved my quiet routines. My clean counters. My empty sink. But there was something comforting about the noise too. Lily's laughter. Jenny's quiet humming. Michael's typing. It felt like family. Not the one that abandoned me, but maybe the family we could become. That afternoon, the doorman called. Flowers. Check the card first, I told him. He read it. We know where you all are. This isn't over. I told him to refuse the delivery. Call the police if needed. Then I called Marcus. He'd add it to our file. Strengthened our case. We were doing everything right. I didn't tell Michael or Jenny about the flowers. They were stressed enough. I ordered extra groceries, cooked dinner, played with Lily. Tried to create some normalcy in this bizarre situation. But that night, after everyone was asleep, I sat alone in my kitchen. And I finally let myself feel everything. The fear. The anger. The grief. The strange, fragile hope. I cried silently into a dish towel so no one would hear me. In the morning, Jenny found me making coffee. Asked if I was okay. I lied. Yes. She didn't believe me. Sat down at the counter. It's okay not to be okay, Emma, she said gently. I'm not either. Michael cries in the shower, where he thinks no one can hear. Lily keeps asking when we can go home. This whole situation is terrible, but I'm grateful we're facing it together. I looked at her. This woman I barely knew, now somehow part of my life. I asked her why. Why she'd come to me that first day. Why she chose to believe me over the family she'd known for years. She smiled sadly. I've always felt something was off about your parents. The stories they told. The way they controlled Michael. The podcast confirmed my suspicions. I couldn't let my daughters grow up thinking abandoning a child was ever acceptable. We hugged then. The first time. It was awkward. But genuine. Like the beginning of something. Not friendship, not yet. But understanding. Solidarity. A shared determination to break the cycle of mistreatment that had damaged us all. The next few days settled into a routine. Work. Cooking. Playing with Lily. Checking in with Marcus. Jumping at unexpected noises. Flinching when phones rang. A strange limbo of domestic normalcy and underlying tension. Safe, but not at peace. Together, but still healing. Family, but still learning what that meant. On Friday, Marcus called with news. The detective found evidence. Security footage from a gas station near Michael's house. Our parents' car, parked there during the break-in. The restraining order hearing was set for Monday. He was confident. We'd get approved. We all felt relieved. But still anxious. Still waiting for the next escalation. It came that night. A brick. Through Michael's car window. In the parking garage. No note this time. No need for one. The message was clear. The security footage showed a man in a baseball cap, face turned away. We couldn't prove it was our dad. But we all knew. Another police report. Added to the file. We tried not to let Lily see how scared we were. Sunday night, we planned for court. What to wear. What to say. What evidence to bring. How to explain our family history without sounding crazy. How to make the judge understand the pattern of escalation. How to protect ourselves. Legally. Physically. It felt surreal. Discussing our parents like this. Like dangerous strangers. Who happened to share our DNA. As we talked, my phone pinged. Email notification. From my mom. Subject, last chance. I almost deleted it. Unread. But something made me open it. Short. One line. If you go to court tomorrow, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. I showed Marcus, who'd stayed for dinner. Screenshot. Added to file. Don't respond, he said. This kind of threat will only help our case. That night, none of us slept. I checked my locks again and again. Listened for noises. What would they do next? Were we overreacting? Underreacting? How had my life come to this? From abandoned teenager to successful businesswoman. Now, hiding in my own apartment from the people who gave me life. Monday morning arrived with a strange calm. We dressed carefully. Business casual. Respectable. Trustworthy. Jenny arranged for Lily to stay with a friend. We drove to the courthouse in separate cars. Just in case. Met Marcus on the steps. He looked confident. Briefcase in hand. Handled dozens of cases like this, he told us. Evidence is strong. Judges take threats seriously. You'll be protected. As we walked in, I saw them. My parents. Standing near the entrance. Older than I remembered. Smaller somehow. My mom saw me first. Made a move. My dad grabbed her arm, held her back. They just watched us pass. Didn't speak. Didn't try to approach. Just stared. A mixture of anger. And something else. Something that might have been fear. We filed past them, through security, to the courtroom. Sat together on a bench, waiting. I could feel them enter behind us. Sense them. Sitting on the opposite side. Almost hear their whispers. But I didn't turn around. Kept my eyes forward. Focused on breathing. The judge called our case. We stood. Walked forward. Took our places. Marcus presented our evidence calmly. The break-in. The threatening texts. The flowers. The brick. The email. The long history of abandonment and manipulation. The judge listened carefully, asked questions, looked at my parents with increasing concern. When it was their turn, they approached the bench. No lawyer. Just them. My dad spoke first. Claimed we were exaggerating. Just trying to reconnect. Never broke any laws. Loved us. Wanted to make amends. A misunderstanding. The judge asked about the security footage. The threatening messages. My dad denied everything. Not us in the footage. Texts misinterpreted. We're the victims here. My mom nodded along, dabbing her eyes. Then the judge asked them directly about abandoning me at 17. My dad hesitated. Started rambling about troubled teens. Difficult decisions. Doing what they thought was best. The judge cut him off. Asked again, directly, did you leave your minor child alone and move to another state? My dad looked down. Mumbled something about financial hardship. The judge's expression hardened. After hearing both sides, she granted our restraining orders. 3 years. No contact. No approaching our homes or workplaces. No messages through third parties. Any violation? Immediate arrest. My parents looked stunned. Like they couldn't believe this was happening. Like they'd never faced consequences before. As we left, my mom called my name. Just once. Softly. I kept walking. Didn't look back. A weight lifted with each step. Not healing. Not yet. But the beginning. The first real boundary. That couldn't be crossed. Not without serious consequences. Outside, Marcus shook our hands. You did well, he said. Orders were solid. Call me immediately if there are any violations. He was proud of us. We thanked him, dazed but relieved. Like survivors of a natural disaster. Blinking in the sunlight. Michael hugged me. A real hug this time. I'm sorry, Emma, he choked out, his voice breaking. For everything. For not protecting you then. For not finding you sooner. For believing their lies. For bringing this chaos back into your life. I hugged him back. We're going to be okay, I told him. We have each other now. We can build something new. Something better. As we walked to our cars, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't check it. But I did. A chill ran down my spine. It was a photo of Lily. At her friend's house. Playing in the backyard. Unaware she was being watched. Below it, this isn't over yet. For words. I showed Michael. His face went white. He called Jenny, who was already picking Lily up. Meet us at my apartment, I told them. Then I called Marcus from the car, my hands shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. Forward me the text. Drive straight home, he said. I'll call the police. I'll meet you there. This is a clear violation. Stay calm. Be vigilant. The drive back felt like an eternity. I checked my mirrors constantly, paranoid. When I finally pulled into my garage, I sat in the car for a minute. Just breathing. Trying to get myself together. Michael and Jenny needed me to be strong. I found them in my apartment. Jenny clutching Lily, like she might disappear. The poor kid looked confused, scared. Michael was pacing, running his hands through his hair. Over and over. I showed them the text. Jenny started crying. They were watching my baby, she sobbed. I'll never forgive myself if something happens to Lily. Michael put his arms around them both. His face, more determined than I'd ever seen it. Marcus arrived 20 minutes later. 2 police officers with him. They took our statements, looked at the text, made some calls. Said they'd send a patrol car to the friend's house. Traced the number. Increase patrols around my building. All the right things. But I could tell. They didn't fully get it. How dangerous my parents could be. How unpredictable. How desperate. After the police left, we sat in my living room, trying to figure out next steps. Jenny suggested a hotel, different names. Michael thought his cousin's house, states away. I just sat there, getting angrier by the minute. This was bullshit. We'd done everything right. Followed every legal channel. Got our restraining orders. And they were still terrorizing us. Still controlling our lives through fear. I stood up. Suddenly. I'm done running, I said. Done hiding. Done letting them dictate my life. They already stole my childhood. I'm not giving them my adulthood, too. Michael looked at me like I was crazy. What are you planning to do? I honestly didn't know. Not yet. But I knew we couldn't keep living like this. That night, we took turns keeping watch. I took the first shift. Sat by my living room window, lights off, watching the street. Around 2 a.m., I spotted it. A car I recognized, my dad's old Buick. It circled the block 3 times. Then parked across the street. I snapped photos on my phone. Then I woke Michael. We watched together. Our dad. Sitting in his car. Just staring up at my building. Not approaching. Not technically violating the restraining order. Just letting us know. He was there. Watching. Waiting. In the morning, I sent the photos to Marcus. Concerning, he said. But not technically a violation. Dad stayed in his car, away from the building. Keep documenting everything. He talked to the detective again. I hung up, frustrated. The legal system had limits. Restraining orders? Just pieces of paper. They couldn't stop someone truly determined to hurt you. Jenny and Michael decided to take Lily to a hotel. Somewhere with interior corridors, good security. I helped them pack. Hugged them goodbye. Promised to check in. After they left, I sat in my empty apartment. Strangely calm. Like I'd reached a decision point. I couldn't live in this limbo anymore. I called Melissa. Told her everything. What should I do? She was quiet for a minute. Then she asked me a question that hit me hard. What do you actually want from your parents, Emma? Not what you don't want. Not what you're afraid of. But what do you actively want? I realized I'd never, ever thought about it that way. After we hung up, I made a list. What I wanted. 1. To live without fear. 2. To have a relationship with my brother and his family. 3. To stop feeling responsible for my parents' actions. 4. To be free of the past. Nowhere on that list was reconciliation. Nowhere was forgiveness. Nowhere was understanding why they did what they did. I just wanted to be free of them. Completely. That afternoon, I did something crazy. I emailed my parents. A short message. I know you're watching my building. I know you're not going to stop. So let's talk one last time. Tomorrow. Noon. The coffee shop on 8th Street. Just me. No police. No lawyers. After that, you leave us all alone. Forever. I hit send before I could change my mind. Didn't tell Michael or Jenny. Didn't tell Marcus or Melissa. This was something I needed to do. For myself. I wasn't naive enough to think they'd suddenly become reasonable. But I needed to face them on my terms. To say my piece. To end this cycle once and for all. My dad replied within minutes. We'll be there. No threats. No guilt trips. Just confirmation. I spent the rest of the day preparing. Not physically, but mentally. What did I want to say? What did they need to hear? What boundaries would I set? I slept surprisingly well that night. Like making that decision had lifted a massive weight. The next morning, I dressed carefully. Not to impress them. Just to feel strong. Confident. Took an Uber. Arrived 15 minutes early. Chose a table in the back corner. Where I could see the door, but wasn't immediately visible. Ordered a coffee I didn't want. Just sat there. Waiting. Surprisingly calm. They arrived exactly at noon. Older now, even more tired than in court. My mom spotted me first, nudged my dad. They walked over slowly. Like they were approaching a wild animal that might bolt. Sat across from me. No words. We just looked at each other for a long moment. These strangers. Who were my parents? These people who had shaped me in ways they'd never understand. I spoke first. I didn't call this meeting to reconcile, I said. Or to give you money. Or to hear excuses. I called it to make you understand one thing, it's over. You've lost. Not just the court case. You've lost me. You've lost Michael. You've lost your grandchildren. You've lost any chance at being part of our lives. And if you can't accept that, if you keep stalking us, threatening us, trying to force your way back in, I will destroy you. My dad started to interrupt. I held up my hand. I'm not finished. Then I pulled out my phone. Showed them screenshots. All their threatening messages. The photo of Lily. The emails. I've sent copies to everyone in your lives. Your siblings. Your church. Your neighbors. Your employers. Everyone. Not yet. But I will if you contact any of us again. If you come near our homes. If you so much as mention our names to anyone we know. My mom started crying. We just want our family back. We made mistakes, but we deserve another chance. We're getting older and don't want to die alone. I looked at her. For a long moment. You should have thought about that, I said, before abandoning your 17-year-old daughter. Before lying to everyone about what you'd done. Before breaking into Michael's house. Before threatening your own grandchild. My dad got angry then. You're ungrateful. You've always been difficult. You've turned your brother against us. You owe us for raising you. I just laughed. Actually laughed in his face. Do you really think you're entitled to gratitude for doing the bare minimum for 17 years, before abandoning me completely? Do you think your parenting was so stellar I should be thanking you for it? He didn't have an answer. Just sat there, red-faced, silent. My mom was still crying. But I felt nothing. No guilt. No sympathy. Just a cold, hard clarity. These people were never going to change. Never going to take responsibility. Never going to be the parents I deserved. I stood up to leave. This is your last warning. Next time you violate the restraining order, I won't just call the police. I'll make sure everyone you know understands exactly what kind of people you really are. I have the resources to make your lives very difficult if you force my hand. I don't want to do that, but I will. To protect my family. My real family, Michael, Jenny, Lily. The people I choose. As I walked away, my mom called after me. Do you really hate us that much? I stopped. Turned around. I don't hate you, I said. I feel nothing for you. You're strangers to me now. And that's your loss, not mine. I walked out of that coffee shop feeling lighter than I had in years. Called Michael from the sidewalk. Told him everything. He was upset at first that I'd gone alone, then concerned about retaliation. But mostly, he seemed relieved. Someone had finally stood up to them directly. He wished he'd had the courage to do it years ago. I went back to my apartment. Packed a bag. Decided to join Michael and his family at their hotel. Just to be safe. When I got there, Lily ran to hug me. Auntie Emma, she called. For the first time. I almost cried. Jenny hugged me too. Said she was proud. Said she hoped I'd finally get some peace. Michael just squeezed my shoulder. No words needed. We spent the next few days in a weird limbo. Waiting for their next move. Checking our phones constantly. Jumping at noises. Nothing. No calls. No texts. No emails. No car sightings. Just silence. After a week, Michael and Jenny decided to go home. Changed all their locks again. Installed security cameras. Made plans to put their house on the market. Started looking at places closer to my city. I went back to my apartment too. Back to work. Back to something like normal life. 2 weeks passed. Then a month. Nothing. From my parents. Marcus checked in regularly. The detective confirmed they'd returned to their home state. Restraining orders still in effect. Stay vigilant, he said. But try to move forward. Slowly we did. Michael found a new job in my city. Jenny enrolled Lily in preschool. They bought a house 20 minutes from my apartment. We had dinner every Sunday. Started building new traditions. New memories. A new kind of family. Based on choice. Not obligation. I kept expecting to feel something about my parents. Grief? Guilt? Anger? But mostly, I felt relief. Like I'd finally put down a heavy weight I'd been carrying since I was 17. Like I could finally focus on the future. Instead of the past. 6 months after that coffee shop confrontation, a letter arrived. Forwarded through Marcus, so my address stayed private. From my mom. I almost didn't open it. Almost threw it away unread. But curiosity won. It was short. A few paragraphs. No excuses this time. No demands. Just an acknowledgement that they'd hurt me deeply. That they'd failed as parents. That they understood why I wanted nothing to do with them. That they were getting counseling. That they would respect the restraining orders. They hoped someday I might be willing to hear a proper apology. But understood if that day never came. I showed it to Michael. He got a similar letter. We talked about it over dinner that night. Was it sincere? Did it change anything? Could we ever trust them again? We didn't reach any conclusions. Just agreed to take it one day at a time. Prioritize our healing. Protect the family we were building. I keep that letter in my desk drawer. Not because I'm ready to forgive. Not because I want reconciliation. But because it represents something important. My parents. Finally recognizing my right. To set boundaries. To choose who I allow in my life. To define family. On my own terms. Last week, Lily had her 4th birthday party. Michael and Jenny asked me to help plan it. We had it at my apartment. Balloons everywhere. A fancy bakery cake. Presents piled high. Lily running around in a princess dress laughing. Jenny taking pictures. Michael grilling on my balcony. Friends stopping by all day. So much noise. So much joy. At one point, I slipped into the kitchen for a moment. Just watched. Through the doorway. Michael swinging Lily in circles. Jenny laughing at a friend's joke. My apartment, once so empty and quiet, now filled with life. And love. I thought about that note. On my kitchen counter. 12 years ago. You'll figure it out. And I had. Not the way they meant. But I'd figured out what family should be. What love should look like. What I deserved all along. I'm not saying everything's perfect now. I still have trust issues. Still go to therapy every week. Still have nightmares sometimes. About being abandoned. Still flinch when my doorbell rings unexpectedly. But I'm healing. We all are. Building something new from the broken pieces of our past. Something stronger. Something chosen. Something real. Sometimes people ask if I'll ever reconcile with my parents. If I'll ever let them meet Lily. If I'll ever forgive them. I don't have answers to those questions. Not yet. Maybe someday. Maybe never. But what I do know is this. I am not defined by what they did to me anymore. I am defined by what I built after. By the person I chose to become. By the family I chose to create. This whole journey has been a lot. And I know so many of you have faced your own battles. So, I have to ask, if you've ever had to redefine family or rebuild your life from scratch, what's one thing you learned? Share your stories and thoughts in the comments below. I'm really eager to hear what you think.